Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's StepsBasic, and welcome back to my community show. Oh, hi. So, announcements. Splash. So many of you may have known, or if you watched yesterday, may have known that Thanksgiving was yesterday for us American folks. So, I didn't get anything recorded, so I don't have much out today. And I only had the one video for yesterday. Man, that thumbnail kills me every time I look at it. I'm like, that's hilarious looking. I don't know. I was like, what can I do for a thumbnail for this? Because I'm not really doing anything in it. And I'm like, I'll throw the clip art on it. It'll be hilarious. But anyway, I hope you watched it. I mean, it wasn't much. Honestly, I was sitting there debating whether or not I should just narrate the whole thing or not. But I really had to get started on dinner and everything, so I didn't have time. So I was like, just do a quick thank you and wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and everything. Apart from that, we have our series of Detroit Become Human is coming closer to an end. I looked it up, but it's only got 6 more chapters left. I'm like, if I keep doing 2 chapters a video, then I'll have only 3 videos left. And I'm like, I have to think of another video or think of another series now. I actually have an idea. I have a few things set up over here off to the side that I need to work on putting together. Apart from that, I wanted to talk a little bit about creating your own gaming consoles. Now, of course, I say that, but of course the word console immediately brings to mind PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, but in this case I'm referring, of course, to PC, because you can't build off of the Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo systems because they are standalone units, and unless you're going to be taking them apart, they're not really customizable in any way like that, which is one of the biggest drawbacks to them. Because when it comes to building your own platform, your own PC, it's a very interesting process. I went to school for electronic engineering technology, and in that we took a class about building PCs. I have never done it myself, and I'm actually currently in the process of doing one for my buddy, and hopefully that I'm not going to lie to you, man. I am nervous. And I saw a funny thing go by on Twitter there where they were talking about, building your first PC. You're like, to push it in real slowly. And then building your second PC is like, get in there. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably about it too, Now, it's funny because I don't remember a time, but I remember hearing about a time. I think it was with the first computers that came out. That was how you got your computer. You got it in a box and you had to put everything together. And I was like, that's kind of neat, actually. I like that idea. I kind of wish we did that these days, because nowadays you just buy the pre-builds and you get them. You get that, and you get your monitor, your mouse, your keyboard, everything. But back then it was like you get your box of your parts, and you have to put everything together and build your own box, your own case out of everything. I mean, that's pretty cool. Nowadays, though, everything is so much simpler with plug and play and everything. You basically just shove things into the sockets that they go into, and you boot it up after you've done all the, what do you call it? Operating system installs and everything, and you boot it up, and then everything just installs on its own. And I'm like, that's kind of neat. But it's one of those things. It makes me nervous, even though I'm pretty sure I can accomplish it. I've heard people on the internet there say, I'm a pretty dumb fella, but I still managed to do all this. I'm like, well, if they're dumb and I'm pretty smart, then I think I can manage this. But I like the idea behind building your own PC, because not only is it's building yourself, you're going in there, you're looking at all the parts you want, and you're putting everything together. And I've always said that people appreciate things more when they have put the work in, you know. It's not a matter of like, oh, I just chucked money at this thing and now I got it. But, you know, like either when it comes to like saving up for something, building it yourself, crafting and whatnot, people tend to appreciate things more when they've put the work in. And you know, I know it kind of goes counterculture a bit to the whole instant gratification desire, but at the same time, it creates a bond, a connection. You know, do you know what I'm saying, or I'm just sounding weird? It's 5 in the morning. I'm tired right now. I couldn't sleep, so I got up. I'm like, I need to do a video for today. But apart from all that, it's like my computer. A friend of mine built it for me. I paid him for it, and I love it, which I think is probably one of the better aspects of it than buying a pre-build. Is you can actually get it for cheaper if you build it yourself. The argument being that you're not paying labor costs. You're paying just simply for the parts. You get all the parts together, you slap them together, and then you get a better PC. And there's 1,000,001 different builds out there that you could look up. You could look at some of the famous folks and their builds, like Jack and Creator. Creator, he's his build's a little expensive for me, but you know, you look at the different PCs out there, and you can look at like how you want to do your PC and how you want things to look. One I found particularly interesting was I think it was called the Potato Masher Pro. This was a build that I was looking at building myself. Unfortunately, it's an old build. It was supposed to be a cheap way to compete with the consoles, just like have a base level PC that has the same or better processing power than the consoles. And now most of the parts are out of stock and out of production, so in order to get them, you have to pay an arm and a leg for them. And that's kind of funny because what started out as a cheap build for a PC has now become a more expensive build. Because the gentleman who put out the video, fairly good following on YouTube there, has he's put that out there, and then everyone's like, okay, I can afford that, so they start buying the parts, and then the parts start, you know, becoming more in demand, but they're not being made, so they become more and more expensive, you know. Supply and demand is a funny thing. So I've been looking around at parts and stuff for building my own PC, or building this PC for my buddy. And, you know, if you guys have any recommendations on where to look, my budget's $300 to $400. I've already got the case. If you have any suggestions of where to look, let me know down in the comment section, because that'll be helpful. And what's another interesting part about this is scavenging. Salvaging, or as I like to refer to it, cannibalizing old PCs. You know, you pull up your old PCs that you may have, like, something went wrong with them, and you know what went wrong with them. So all you have to do is either replace that part, or you can use the parts from it in other places. And that's kind of what I'm doing to save on cost for my build here. Is I'm cannibalizing this old PC I have, because the only thing that was wrong with it was that the hard drive went out, which meant that it wouldn't hold any information in it, so I couldn't. I didn't have an operating system, and every time I booted it up, and I diagnosed it. I got it fixed at one point, and then it just reverted back to the same thing. So I was like, nuts to you then, and I just abandoned it and got a new PC. That's the one that I'm working with now, is this one. Actually, funny enough, I went between that one and a Walmart Potato, and then this one I have now, and this one is the best PC I've ever had in my whole life. And it runs so smoothly, and I love it. And getting it cut down on my editing time and everything. And I paid less than that, less than the big one that I have, that I'm scavenging parts off of, more than the Walmart one, but only by a little bit. And as such, you know, I've come out on top. because it's better than both of the PCs. It was more expensive than the Walmart, but cheaper than the behemoth. This one over here, the one I keep pointing at that you can't see off camera here, is my old one. Paid $1,500 for it. And for it to go out the way it did was just kind of infuriating. It was technically a custom-built PC, but I bought it from a... I don't remember where I bought it from. But I bought it, put together. Do you guys have any experience in building PCs? Because I find that to be kind of interesting thing, I've seen other people, like, I know my boy over here, Jack, he likes to build his own PCs. I'm kind of wondering if he's done it in a while, but I know he says that's how he does most of his, is building them. And that's kind of why I've been doing it, but it's one of those deterrents, it's an expensive process. Excuse me. I know with parts and everything, it gets to be a little bit pricey, and that's something I just don't feel comfortable tinkering around with because I'm poor. And so I get nervous when it comes to this sort of thing, this idea of building my own. But hey, maybe it'll turn out well. Maybe I'll succeed. Maybe it'll be awesome. Apart from that, I have work I have to do later today, so I have to finish this up. And I wanted to say thank y'all. Hope you had a wonderful holiday, or if you outside of the States and don't celebrate the Thanksgiving, then I hope you had a wonderful day anyway. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of The Community Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go poke that like button for me. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you're more than welcome to comment down in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, when I can, if I can, all that jazz. And tune in next time for another video at another time, starting December. And until then, good night.